Up here in the fall, there are a lot of things that go hand in hand. One of them is drinking hot tea. Another one is baking Christmas cookies. And we continue to enjoy our quilting projects just like we do throughout the year. So today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to combine my love for baking with a quilting project. How, you might ask? Well, I have this big, beautiful cookie jar that I'm going to be filling later today with some of my favorite cookies. And I'm going to go through the little basket of applique projects that we have and try and find something that might be appropriate to decorate my cookie jar with. And if I just look at the sizes of the project that are on there, I think I can find one that's appropriate. I could go ahead and use a nice Christmas garland on there. And another one that I thought about were the Santa's Little Helper cats. But I recently did the cats on a stocking. So I think I'm going to go with Funky Chicken. I just feel like that is going to be something that I could use all year long in my cookie jar, well, on my cookie jar, and I can get a good design. And the nice thing about these laser cut fusible appliques is that you can fuse these on a variety of projects. They don't just have to be fabric. So what I'm going to do, we can see here if I fold the paper back, that my Funky Chicken is going to fit right on my jar. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pieces out, move the camera up so you can see what we're doing, and go ahead and get started on fusing this laser cut fusible applique right onto the glass jar. And we're going to use a different tool today. So hold on just a second and we'll be right back after we switch the camera. Well, just like normal, I have everything laid out just to make the project a little bit easier to go. I also wanted to lay the pieces out just to make sure that everything was in the package. These are packaged by hand, so mistakes do happen, not very often. This one was packaged by Vicky, so thank you, Vicky. All of my pieces are here. I took my pattern out of the package and I have taped it on the inside of my cookie jar. And I couldn't find my clear tape, so I just used some painter's tape just to hold that in place. And that'll be my placement guide for putting all the pieces on. As we've said in the past, all of the pieces that we have are, the fabric is pre-selected and they're laser cut, and they're also pre-fused with Steam-A-Seam 2. The Steam-A-Seam 2 has the paper backing on it, and when we're ready to position our first piece, we just peel that paper off of the back. There's two things. If you ever find that the adhesive didn't bond properly with the fabric, you would just put the paper back on and hit this with the iron for just a minute or so, just to rebond that fusible web to the fabric. And after you let that cool, then the paper backing will come off. Now this doesn't happen very often, but as any large production run, you'll find that every once in a while that does happen. If you can't find an edge to get the paper backing off, you can score the back of the paper with the seam ripper or a needle, and that'll give you something to lift up and get a hold of the paper. But you can see in this particular case, the paper's peeling right off, and I'm just going to drop those on the inside. And what I'm going to do using my guide on the inside is just position my piece the best I can over top of that. And then what I would do is select the next piece, and on the pattern, whenever there's a dotted line, that means that that part of the applique shape will go underneath one of the other pieces. Now this is part of the big feather plumage, so again I'm just going to peel the paper off of the back of that, and I'm going to go ahead and position that in place. The nice thing about this Steam-A-Seam 2 is it has a tacky backing once you peel that the paper off, and that allows you to lift up or reposition these pieces as necessary, and that's a good thing because I forgot to tuck under my 2 chicken feet. So I'm going to go ahead and put those on now, and I'm just going to lift up on this piece of fabric so I could gently put in my chicken feet. And that's why this tackiness really comes in handy, and part of the reason why we love the Steam-A-Seam 2. Okay, now my chicken can actually run around, even though it will have its head. It can run around because I've attached its feet. So now I'm going to put its head on so it can actually see where it's going. And that may not be absolutely perfect, but once I get the paper out, you're not even going to be able to see the difference. Now we're getting our top head feathers on. And at the very top of this curve, I could have the piece go around the corner of the lip of the jar, because it's perfectly fine. I thought maybe I'd have to shift it down a little bit, but it goes on perfectly. And then we have 3 more pieces. Let's see, is the smallest one? Yes, the smallest one goes here. Now that my 2 pieces are on, I'm having a little trouble seeing where those 2 pieces go because I don't have this under a light box. So I'm just going to use my cover pattern and get a good idea of where they go. I can see that in general that goes on the inside of the plume. And then my next one down is the orange dot. We can see that there's an echo of the 2 curved pieces. So I'll just try and keep the distance between the 2 of those the same, and then we'll go ahead and add the final one. And just like that, and just with the heat of my hand, these pieces are all stuck on here now. Now normally we would iron the Steam-A-Seam 2 onto the product because we want it to fuse. But some products or some projects you're going to find that you may not want to have an iron on. Now I don't think the iron would actually hurt this glass jar, but it would take a little while to get all of the curves. So today what I'm going to do is just hit this with a little mist because this still is Steam-A-Seam and does require the moisture content to activate the adhesive. But what I'm going to fuse it with is the blow dryer. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up and go ahead and get it ready to fuse with the blow dryer. We have all of our pieces just laid onto the glass, and now the next phase is going to be to go ahead and fuse this. And one of the things I didn't grab was the mister. Grab that, and I don't need the pattern on the inside anymore, so I could take that off. And what I'm going to do is just give this a little mist on the glass and the fusible web. That'll also kind of give me an indicator of how well we're doing with the blow dryer. This, this may not be the most exciting thing to watch, so I won't continue that all the way through, but it is how we would put that on, like canvas or burlap, some of the other projects that you wouldn't necessarily use on an iron. And after you heat this up, you would just want to press it with the some kind of a towel or tea cloth and make sure that it's adhered completely to the glass. But after that, you're ready to go. Just like fabric is in the washing machine, this would be safe to hand wash if something got on it in the kitchen. And in my kitchen, that would definitely be the case, because I would have stuff, flour and sugar floating everywhere when I'm making cookies, and don't even look at the floor. But this is all ready to go. All I need to do is bake some cookies and get this full. It'll be really beautiful to add some color to the kitchen, and it's a really funky design. So don't just think about our applique designs for fabric only. They could be fused to canvas, burlap, glass, wood, a variety of projects and products. So it's just a fun way to add some color to your room or your sewing room or your kids' room, and it makes a really great gift. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.